Well, hello, my friends. The internet is just all a Twitter today with comments and copies of videos about my Governor Janet Mills of Maine, from a meeting that the governors had a couple of days ago in D.C. Someone took a video at that meeting when Governor Mills said that they wouldn't comply with the executive order regarding transgender women competing in sports along other women. And I watched the video, and I watched our president threaten her and tell her that if she didn't do what she was told, that the state of Maine wouldn't get any money, any funding, which would be illegal. But he threatened her because of her wanting to follow state and federal laws. She said she would follow state and federal laws, and he said, I am federal law. If you haven't seen the video, you really should look it up. It's quite impressive, because she stood her ground and said she would see him in court. Why is it that it's only women that are standing up to our president? Why do we never see any men do this? Well, it's been my experience in the past 70 years of observing behavior that men change the way they behave from when they're alone, or they're in a small group, or they're in a bigger group. There's a bit of a pack mentality. I've watched when I worked in restaurants years ago and worked the counter. If one man sat at the counter, he could be very polite and respectful and very, very kind. If another man joined him, they would get a little bit more playful with their jokes. And then if a third man joined all together, there was a pack mentality. And all of a sudden, that man that was so kind and sweet in the beginning was joining right in, and all three of them were behaving in a way towards me that I had to set a really firm boundary against. So men kind of take their cue as far as the pecking order and who's the top dog and how to behave. And I don't see any of them having the guts to stand up to President Trump. But I see a line of women standing up to him. There was Hillary Clinton years ago, Liz Cheney when it came time to prosecute January 6th insurrection. There was Kamala Harris, who stood on the stage and to his face called him out and told him what she thought of him and his behavior. Then there was Bishop Buddy, pleading publicly for him to have mercy and to not do the things that people that he had promised to do. All women, and now our Governor Janet Mills courageously standing up to him. Why is this happening? I think that it's the rise of divine feminine energy. And I think the reason that the divine feminine energy is rising is because women have been taking abuse of every kind, physical, emotional, sexual. They've been being suppressed, oppressed. They've had to live by unfair patriarchal rules as second-class citizens, doing more than their fair share of labor for less than their fair share of pay. Basically just being like hand servants to men for centuries. Now, let me be really clear that I'm not saying that all men expect this sort of treatment from women. There are men out there that are divine masculines. Their masculine energy is healthy and their feminine energy is intact and balanced with it. They revere women because they understand that women are portals of life. They bring life from another dimension in spirit form into this dimension in a physical body. Women's intuition, women's knowing, women's magic, women's nurturing, women's healing ability. All necessary to civilization, all necessary to the healing of what's gone awry in our world. But men, some men, with great egos, jealous of that power, wanting the power to themselves, created a patriarchal society where women were oppressed, abused, taken for granted, not listened to, not even able to have their own credit card or checking account until I was married 2 years in the 1970s. I was married 2 years and had 2 children before I was able to even open a bank account without my husband's permission. Women have had enough. And if what happens in the collective is a mirror of what's taking place in our personal lives, then what we're seeing is that women who have been putting up with the king of the castle mentality and men running the show and abusing them and keeping them barefoot and pregnant, so to speak, which is what they seem to want to get back to. Women are done with it. They have finally realized their value. They've given and given and given out of love until it hurts. They're done. So the divine feminine energy is rising. That means its masculine energy is intact as well. What I think is going to be the leadership in our world in the future, and what's going to be the healing for it, is men and women both that are in their divine masculine energy and divine feminine energy, working together in cooperation and collaboration to create a world where all people's needs are recognized and met. I called Governor Mills' office immediately to leave a voicemail for her when I saw that video and said, thank you very much for having the courage to stand up to bullying, to not back down. I am behind you 100%. Let me know however I can be of service. And I encourage all women out there to take a look at what's happening in their personal world, in their home, in their workplace. Are you being valued? Are you being treated the way you should be being treated? The pick-me women that have internalized the misogyny, that try to court the favor of men so strongly. Take a deeper look at how you hurt your sisters when you use misogynistic attitudes not only towards yourself but towards them. It's time for the feminine energy to awaken from its slumber, from its acceptance of its fate, and to realize that this has never been our fate and that we've had the power to change it all along. So, evaluate what's happening in your private life, because the public life is mirroring what goes on in our private life. As without, so within. Collective energy is a mirror of personal energy. Let's take a note from these strong women and stop tolerating any sort of abuse or being undervalued and not treated the way we deserve to be treated. As divine beings and portals of life, women are sacred and magic, intuitive and healing, nurturing, and capable of wise leadership without reacting from a rush of testosterone to violence. It is the time for the divine feminine to rise. I hope that the masculine energy that is divine will join them, and those that are still in misogyny, that you will do some serious self-examination, some growing. It's time to develop a backbone and to stand up to the bullying and the power grab that's happening in our government right now. That's my message to you for today. I'm damn proud to be a woman and excited to be one at this time of life, watching women step back into their rightful place as leaders in the world. Make no mistake, whatever you see happening around you, the patriarchy is dying, and it's grasping for power as it feels itself slipping away. Kudos, Governor Mills. Peace to all of you. Have a kick-ass day.